State University Athletic Department, and we are here in the Waco Center, down here in the office of Pioneer Media, for another segment of the Coaches Show. And our guest today is head men's and women's track and cross country coach Dan Meyers. Coach,
nice to see you, Coach.
Nice to see you. It's championship week.
Absolutely.
2 weeks later with the festival year, so a little later than normal. You would think it might be a little more cross country weather, but it's looking like it's gonna be like up near 80 Saturday.
I know, and I think even when the race goes off, it might be close to 60, which is crazy. And then the afternoon, obviously, getting a little warmer. But the Tuesday morning, our last quality workout, waking up and practicing 55-degree weather was a little out of the normal for November, but I think the group is ready. We up at Lock Haven, we race in some warmer temperatures, so I think our fall's been a little bit unusual, but I think that we're ready to go.
You're right. Starting at 9:30 in the morning, it'll be a little cooler, and real excited to go back up there. It's every year it looks like that course has gotten a little nicer. The way it's very challenging. It's up and down, but I mean for the fans and families out there, it's really where the placement of the hills are in that course that really poses the challenge.
Yeah, and we talked about when we went up to Carnegie, which was 2 meets ago for us, that there were some critically placed hills that I thought prepared us for the conference courts coming up. Carnegie's not as hard as the course up in Wheeling, but those critically placed hills, I think, and having a really good race that day, I think we'll kind of roll over to the conference meet. I think that the conference as a whole has gotten used to going up there at this point, and it should be some exciting racing. I mean, our men's league is probably it's very deep right now, and historically comparing where our guys have been, this is one of the better teams in the last few decades, and we're just hoping to kind of be in the mix.
Yeah.
And the women's team has came a long way, and I think that that they should be proud of what they've done this year and the strides they've made individually.
They've
as
came
well.
along for sure, and we're talking about how deep that men's league is. I mean, to finish the 50th runner is still going to be a pretty good runner.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like with the course, we talked about several years now going back up to Ogilvy, and the league does a tremendous job with that setup. But how you describe the course, I mean, from a confidence standpoint, your kids have ran better on hills this year than they have on the flat options.
Oh, it's not even in debate. I mean, I would say outside of a few performances at the Route 33, which was flat, we have raced better on hills. Carnegie was by far one of our best meets, and I would say last year, the Geralds went up there. They were battling some sickness, but with that being considered, they ran the hills up there very well. And I think that getting BJ and Adam and Trey's a phenomenal hill runner. I think getting them into the mix up in a course like this, I think anything can happen.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll see the results from our meet, with some of the really deep teams in the league, like a Charleston, a Concord, a D&E. And I would say that 2 weeks later at the regional, their top five is going to look a whole lot different, just depending on the course and how people kind of navigate it. But I'm excited. It's like you said, there's going to be people finishing from 35 to 55 that are very quality runners that are going to make a difference in the outcome from some of the teams that are finishing in the middle spots.
What's going to be interesting is Charleston being up there in the top 10 in the country now, but in a smaller meet like this, Concord's got some guys up top that could really, they're going to have to earn it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, I would say, D&E is very deep. West Lib's had some good showings this year. Obviously Concord's got some top dogs, and they're prepared to, kind of show out, heading into the regional. I think just anything can happen. I mean, just the improvements across the league, Fairmont, Frostburg, Wesleyan has been super consistent all year, and they have a really tight pack, which is something that we need to do better at to compete with those teams in the middle. And I think that some of our workouts in the last 2 weeks have showed that we can do it. It's just a matter of putting it together. Who are we going to get when they take the line that day? And I think that there's a lot of private and personal talks we're going to have with individual runners this week leading into conference about, we know you can do it, you just got to show up and do it. And, I think that when we break down a scouting report later this week and we look at the 3, 4, 5 runners, I mean, when you write it on paper, and they look at it, they're like, I can be right there. And we just,
Yeah.
and I think that that's going to be a big part of building some confidence going into the weekend and reflecting on where we've been so far this year.
For the men's side, they were nudged by Fairmont and Frostburg, both up there at Lock Haven, and that's somewhere where as a goal where you need to be. Is this a matter of just you need to put up a couple low numbers, or like you're talking about, we need to have that tight pack to combat that as an avenue to accomplish that?
So this year, our 3-runner, our 1 and 2 have been the same. They've been the same every single race since I've been here, in that order. Bryson and Blake. BJ's probably been in the top 5 the most out of the rest of the group. But whoever is going to step up and be our 3rd guy that day, what I've noticed from our races is that person's just been out on. Adam was our 3rd guy at Carnegie, and he was pretty deep back at the Geralds, and there wasn't really anyone. So whoever's going to make that move, the 4 and 5 have got to go with them, and we've got to have somebody in the 6 and 7 spot, looking through the pack and navigating at where they can help, and that's just been something that we've stressed all year, and we kind of put together at Carnegie, but we just need to be a little bit more crisp with that, and one of the things that. Regardless how the conference meet goes, like Trey Stanley has been our most consistent runner all year. He's been in the top 5 every single race. Doesn't matter if it's flat or hills or whatnot. It seems like he's going to give you the same effort. And I think that
he has a nice future.
Yes, and he's ready to roll, and he embraces the mileage. And coming from a small school with a kind of a chip on his shoulder, and he's ready to prove that he can run with the big dogs.
Well, I tell you, this is back when you were a student athlete, with our teams. It's hard to explain this to other people how big this event is.
Yes.
Like the pageantry and how many people are there, and the signs and the body paint and all that. It's an interesting, it's a cool phenomenon.
And I think what makes it even better now is that, which is why I'm so grateful for like the Route 33 Cup, and I think that's kind of why, you all created it, was that with all these different meets that you have options to go to now, and with like a Concord and a Charleston and D&E with all these at-large points, that you can go after and go get, teams are traveling really far. Charleston mixed it up with some of the best in the country in Alabama. A lot of people went to Paul Short this year.
It really helped get those rankings.
Yeah, we don't see those schools as much as I feel like we used to. And Bethany, I saw less conference schools than we've probably ever seen historically. So I think that even makes it more exciting, that because you're not really sure what you're going to get, and with a course that is that difficult, anything can happen. So I think that makes it even more exciting that we've seen them less throughout the year.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for it. We'll have real excited to be doing the audio with Jack Withrow there. The job they did here with the track meet, and I've been a big fan of his work. So very excited, to work with their group up there, and that'll be, Saturday morning on Mountain East Television, and you'll be able to get it. We'll have the link on here with Lex and Draven. So really looking forward to it, and wishing you very well up there. Okay.
I appreciate it.
I'll try. I will be impartial on the broadcast. Thank you for being with us today, Coach.
Thank you.
And thank you all out there.